Guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of Symphonic Rain. Before we get into this, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because that would mean the whole world to me. And after this video, if you liked it, hit that like button as well. Alright, let's get into this. I changed the subject to something less intimate. It was common etiquette to ask a fellow student you just met which department they were from. Huh? The girl seemed surprised at that. Did she find it strange that I changed the subject all of a sudden? Well, I just figured that it was the case, or that was the case, since your voice is so pretty. Am I wrong? Also, please forgive me if I make any mistakes. I've been struggling a lot with my lupus, and I have a lot of brain fog today. No, I'm a freshman. Of course, the vocal depart, or whoops, of course, the vocal department, or of the vocal department. Sorry. I see. Since you're a freshman, was that some sort of training piece you sang? No, it wasn't. Some famous song? No. But it was a really nice song. I'm sure it was made by someone who loved to sing. Eh? You like that song, don't you? You seemed pretty into it just now. What was more, I couldn't see a score anywhere. It didn't seem like a terribly complex piece to learn from memory, but I praised it regardless. Anyone would be happy to hear their favorite song being praised. That was partly what I was going for. But even so, I genuinely felt it was a good song. Yes. The girl whose name I didn't even know finally seemed to have broken something akin to a smile. I'm Chris Verton. I'm a senior foretellist. If it's alright with you, can we play that song just now together sometime? I decided to ask her as she seemed a bit more relaxed now. And in the back of my head, I considered that maybe, just maybe, this could end up becoming something more. Huh? She stood rooted to the floor with a surprised look on her face and didn't answer for a while. Did I say something wrong? Oh, if you don't want to, then never mind. It was just a random idea. I tried to brush it off as being no big deal, but the girl once again muttered an apology, eyes cast to the floor. I'm sorry, I'm going home now. This time she carried her bag properly closed under her arm as she ran past me. I felt disappointed at the thought of it ending here, so I called out to her one last time. Will you come here again? The girl stopped in her tracks and looked over her shoulder. No. I see. Sorry for bothering you. Lise. What? My name. Leaving only that, the girl left. Perhaps she just felt obligated to let me know her name after I had already given her mine. She didn't look that upset to me, and although she said she wouldn't come again, I felt it wouldn't hurt to stop by here once more. There was no guarantee I would meet her, and I might not even be welcome if I did. But I had a feeling that if I came back here, I would be able to see her again. I looked outside the window. It seemed as though the rain had calmed down. It was about time to go home. Recollecting the piece, as well as the sound of her voice that had remained in my ears, I idly began my trek home. Welcome home! You're pretty late today. Did you go practicing out or after all? Sort of. I dried my hair with the towel left at the front door and dropped my bag to the floor. I never touched my foretell in the end. But I got to hear a good song in return, so I didn't quite think I wasted my time. Hey, what happened today? Something kind of peculiar happened. Something peculiar? What is it? After my usual interaction with Forney, the day came to an end. Alright, 30th of November. I finished Miss Cordell's private lesson as well as lunch. Normally, this would about end my day, but... What are you going to do today? It seemed this wouldn't be the case for the coming days. I still haven't found a partner, so I'll just randomly search somewhere. I see. Good luck with that. Yeah, thanks. Well then, what shall I do? We are gonna go to the practice room. And we have a choice to practice or not to practice. It doesn't matter which one we choose for this route. At this part, I think. But I think I'm gonna practice anyways, just because I kind of feel like I have to. I knew I had to search for a partner, but somehow found myself coming to a practice room instead. Rushing things wouldn't yield a positive outcome. I had to practice every once in a while. Yeah, let's practice a piece. Shoot. Ah, shoot. I really messed up, but I don't really care. Whew, I guess that's that. A short while after I finished playing, silence returned to the room. It didn't go too badly today. Even so, in my current partnerless state, it hadn't much significance. Well then, I took the score from my music stand, put it in my bag, and left. The faint light breaching the cloudy sky informed me that not much time had passed since noon. It was pretty common for me to head home around this time. But now I had this partner issue going on, so I could no longer afford to leave that early. I had a feeling Miss Cordell would scold me if she caught me, so I hurried along in the direction of the town. After leaving the institute and waiting for a few minutes, I came to the big street that split the town into two. The western district was called the New Town. The eastern district was called the Old Town. This street cut pretty much straight through the center of these two districts. My apartment was in the Old Town, where rent was cheap, and where most of the ordinary citizens lived. The New Town was, on the other hand, consisted of big mansions, built after the town was declared the city of music, for noblemen who moved here desiring prestige. I never had much to do with the New Town, so I didn't know much else about it. After leaving the main street to the east, I arrived in familiar terrain, the Old Town. The sound of children playing their instruments flowed from the windows of the houses. At night, one would probably be able to hear the singing and clattering of instruments or of drunken adults. I walked carefully, to make sure my footsteps didn't resound too loudly on the stone pavement, as I concentrated my ears on the music flowing along with the rain. I'm home. Ah, welcome back! You're early today, I guess. I finished reporting my uneventful day to Forney. Afterward, I routinely made some dinner and then routinely fell asleep. Alright, here we go! I finished morning practice as well as my lunch, as usual. It seemed Torta had just finished eating as well. She was looking my way as if curious to know how I would spend the day today. What? What are you going to do now? What am I going to do, huh? I only just started, so I'm going to search at my own pace. Geez, make a little haste already. I already found a candidate of sorts. Really? If that's true, then okay. It's true, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, got it. I'm going home for today. Okay, see you tomorrow. Well then, what should I do now? We are going to go to, the lesson room. I decided to go ask Asino for help. I saw Torta off from the cafeteria, then remained there for a while. Asino was being tutored by Miss Cordell, just like me, and had his class right after mine after lunch break. After leisurely killing some time in the cafeteria, I decided to head for the lesson rooms. At this time, about 5 minutes before the end of third period, there wasn't a soul in the hallway. I stopped in front of the room I'd had my lesson in earlier and killed more time looking over some score sheets I'd written. Upon hearing Asino's voice, I put away the sheets and raised my head. Chris, what's up? Well, something. How unusual, but it's not like you were waiting for me, right? Miss Cordell is still inside. Actually, I was waiting for you. Well, that's really unusual. One could say that, excluding Torta, Asino was my one and only friend. Even so, I didn't hang around with him around the clock, nor did I want to. We always met when one had business with the other, but if neither did, we could go without seeing each other for over a week. Apart from that, we still ran into each other by chance sometimes. When we did, we would go have lunch together, for instance. But today, I had a clear motive for meeting him. I kind of have a favor to ask of you. Of me? Okay. If it's going to take long, let's go someplace where we can relax. Sure. Let's talk while we're walking as well. In typical Asino style, he simply curved the edges of his lips in reply and started walking. Hello? Miss Cordell. Hello. Miss Cordell was leaning against the doorframe of the lesson room looking our way. Consultation about the partner issue. Something like that. What? You haven't found anyone either yet? Either? Neither of you have found anyone yet. She stated indifferently, showing neither anger nor forgiveness. I at least have a candidate. Please don't put me on the same level as him. You aren't the only one. Tortanita, right? Got a problem with that? Well, no, of course not. As far as I'm concerned, you're both in the same boat. Well, that's true, I guess. I know. That's why I decided to ask Asino for help. But with him in the same situation, I guess I can't expect much. Don't make blind assumptions. Anyway, it pleases me to see you're determined at least. What about me? I haven't even heard the name of your candidate yet. I will tell you once it's decided. Sure, I'm not worried about you. But you are worried about me? Yeah. Miss Cordell produced one of her seldom seen smiles. Good for you, Chris. Shut up. Anyway, as I glanced at Asino for his sarcastic remark, Miss Cordell raised her voice as though reproving me for that. It's better to at least try. You'll have an excuse later on. An excuse for you? And for yourself. Miss Cordell walked off in the direction of the staff offices, probably to prepare for her next lesson, leaving us a weak smile as a substitute for saying goodbye. So there you have it. Asino took this occasion to turn the tables on me. Since I'm worried about you as well, I'm going to hang out with you for a bit. Yeah, thanks already. Taking what Miss Cordell had said into account, I couldn't refuse the offer. I'd come here with the intention of asking him for help in the first place. I meekly agreed with his proposition and let Asino decide where to go. Well, let's go then. Sure, but where to? The Senacolo would be a reasonable start. That place seems appropriate, all right. And that's why we're going. Asino said matter-of-factly, and set off in the direction of the secondary school building. Okay then, I muttered to myself, then followed in his tracks. The room was already occupied with what appeared to be seniors like us in the middle of performing off the cuff. Seeing as freshmen and juniors still had classes around this time, this was likely the case. They took note of our entrance and promptly stopped performing. One of them called out to Asino. Hey, Asino! Hey, Asino, what's up? Nothing much. By the way, weren't you a vocalist? What are you talking about? I'm a pianist, obviously. Did you forget? It's because your voice sounded as captivating as your appearance to me. Although I doubted she took that too seriously, the girl smiled and let his mistake slide. All I could do was stand by the wall and watch Asino chat people up like that. Although he was a fortellist, he once told me that he had originally wanted to become a poet. That might explain why he could say such nauseating stuff without so much as flinching. The people around him didn't seem to mind much, so it might have been a talent of sorts. Do you think many vocalists will come today? My friend said they'd come over later. Why, you still don't have a partner? Regretfully, no, but then, I'm not the one in a hunt today. Is that so? Yeah, but anyway, I suppose, we'll stick around until those girls arrive. Asino waved and bid the girl farewell, then came walking my way. Hey, Chris, where's your motivation? You tell me. What did we come here for again? To search, right? Well, whatever. Nothing we can do until those vocalists arrive. Incidentally, I'm just here to randomly kill some time. I'm just here to randomly search. Okay, if a girl looking like a vocalist comes in, be assertive and talk to her, okay? I'll try. I leaned against the wall and idly scanned the room. More and more people arrived with time. This place seemed to fulfill its role of stimulating students to socialize all right. Huh, is that so? The voice of Asino frivolously talking to female students sounded very distant to me. Despite talking to them so familiarly, he once told me that he didn't even remember the names of most of them. I wasn't quite sure whether I should be amazed by that or not. As for me, I didn't have a knack for addressing people I had never met before, and even less so for being addressed by them. At present, no one seemed curious enough to talk to me, making me wonder if people realized this fact just by looking. Chris, being a wallflower doesn't suit you. What? The one person who had been curious enough to talk to me in the past addressed me with the same phrases back then. Although I felt a bit of nostalgia, I still thought it was kind of creepy. How are you telling that to, or how about telling that to one of the girls? Nah, I've grown bored of that. So now you're talking up guys? Exactly, Asino stated in apparent jest. His face turned serious after that. What do you want to do today? I had you take me here, but I think places like this are or like these aren't really suited for me after all. Guess you're right. Want to leave? You're quick to agree, are you sure? Yeah, anyway, let's go outside for now. Got it. I closed the door and walked off with Asino. What was that about me being quick to agree? Oh, you seem to be having fun, so I figured you wouldn't want to go. I didn't come here for myself today. Well, sorry. Don't worry about it. But I never seriously searched. Whoops, but I never seriously searched. You searched a little, didn't you? I suppose. If you could call deciding that someone is no good just by looking at their face searching, then sure, I searched a little. Right? Besides, that place doesn't serve people of your kind. Of my kind? In various ways, personally and musically. Yeah, I feel that way as well. The two of us walked around school for a bit, but nothing came out of it. Right after we left the campus grounds, I stopped in my tracks. Asino gallantly walked on through the mist-like rain. I frowned. Asino... I'm so sorry if you can hear my roommate sleeping. He's sleeping on the floor again for whatever reason and not in his room. I frowned. Asino casually turned around and said, Hurry up! Nothing strange about rain, is there? I know, I just don't really like getting drenched. Even so, you'll be the center of attention once you raise an umbrella, you know. I know, though there's probably just something wrong with the people around me who consider umbrellas uncool. Those are just kids, right? I guess. As I caught up to Asino with a short dash, he continued. When push comes to shove, you can just partner with Tortonita. We did what we could for today. I guess. I didn't really feel like doing that. On the other hand, it was a bad idea to put too much anticipation into this person Miss Cordell was going to arrange for me as well. What's wrong? Asino let out a seemingly unintentional sigh, perhaps due to the rut in this conversation. I guess I'm a little tired. I see. Sorry for wasting your time today. Like I said, don't worry about it. You said they didn't suit me earlier, didn't you? You mean the girls? Yeah, but, they don't suit you either, do they? Who do? Girls whose names you don't even remember. Isn't that what you wore out? Or isn't that what wore you out? Nah, everyone is just having fun. Does that everyone include you? Are you jealous? What? Of the girls? I have no idea how you came to that conclusion. You're so cute, Chris. As he said those ridiculous things to me, he patted my head for some reason. Hey. Okay, wanna go home? I'm going home no matter what you say. Despite my rather aggressively sweeping away his hand from my head, Asino's ambiguous smile showed no sign of crumbling. Okay, I'll accompany you till the main street. In the end, despite my constant complaining, Asino was still in a good mood. By the way, Chris, if you don't have plans for tonight, how about having dinner together? Huh? I don't have plans, sure thing. I always cooked for myself. I didn't have a part-time job, so I was relying on my parents' allowance for day-to-day expenses. I didn't have to worry about tuition since the Fortal course was government-sponsored. So I had a pretty easy life and wasn't too much of a burden on my parents. But I told myself not to squander money regardless of being in such a position. Also sorry for this. Where do you want to go? Asino was living in this town with his family, so he could afford some luxuries. I always refused to go to a place I couldn't afford. But Asino knew that, so he rarely invited me to such places. I found a nice trattoria the other day, cheap of course. I see, in that case, sure. It's been a while since we've eaten out together after all. A trattoria was aimed at a general public, so it wasn't that luxurious. I had the financial leeway to eat out at least once a month. My parents urged me to do so as well. Yeah, the place is in the old town. Shouldn't be too far from your house. You might know about it. Nah, I didn't know there was a trattoria near my house. I don't eat out much, and if I do, it's usually with you. But the old town, huh? Something wrong? It's just a little unusual. Most of the places you take me to are either in the new town or at best along the main street. An acquaintance of mine introduced me to this place. I've liked it ever since. And we know who that is. The establishment Asino had taken me to had Corpere written on its signboard, and looked pretty stylish from the outside. Huh, this place is in unexpectedly good taste. My standards aren't as low as yours. It was about dinner time, so it was pretty crowded inside. Asino casually called to a female attendant, who then guided us in while pleasantly conversing with him, making me wonder if he came here often. What will you have? Doesn't matter, I'll just pick something. You always say that, then there's no need to ask for the recommendations either, huh? I guess. I'll have pasta. Pepperoncini? For simplicity's sake. Ordering like some kind of connoisseur. I guess I'll have that too. Never had it before here. It is said that with a simple pasta of red peppers, garlic, and olive oil, one could learn the quality of an establishment. Of course, I had no such intentions in mind. I just ordered it because I liked it. But Asino, who knew about that, ridiculed me for it and shrugged his shoulders. Hey, about your partner. Asino started as I brought a spoonful of the freshly served food to my mouth. As expected from a trattoria to Asino's liking, the food was delicious. You won't partner with Tortanita? Why does everyone want me to partner with Torta? Because it just seemed natural. Well, I know that, but... Besides, I'll have a problem if you don't partner with her. Why is that? I'm being threatened by Tortanita to cooperate with her. That's a lie. She doesn't say it up front, but I just know. Say whatever you want. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway. Exactly. What's the reason? The reason I won't partner with Torta? I couldn't even venture a guess. Are you worried about me as a friend, or perhaps... I'm just curious, obviously. Huh. Well, thanks. It's Ari. Arietta, huh? I've never met her, so I don't know, but I think Tortanita is a much better match for you. You wouldn't understand. Torta would be fine with it, but Ari... Wouldn't, huh? Well, it's your life, so do whatever you want. That's my intention. You're the one who brought it up. Because I'm worried. How about giving priority to your own worries? I am. Who said I was worried about you? Yeah, thanks anyway. I've gotten used to his frivolous behavior. He said it was mere curiosity, exactly because he was genuinely concerned. If he really was just curious, he was the kind of guy that would pretend to be sincerely worried instead. In the end, that might have been all he had wanted to ask me, since after that we only talked about trivial things. After finishing our meal, we left the store and parted ways. I'm home. Ah, welcome home. You're late today. I ate out today. Oh, I see. The restaurant Asino had taken me to was pretty good, so I felt satisfied. But Asino's attitude felt a bit out of place. Was this really something to worry himself so much over? Did you go with Asino? Yeah. I let Forney in on everything that had happened today as usual. And another uneventful day without much progress came to an end. Alright, 2nd of December. Practice and lunch. I spent my time until noon the same way I always did. As I began pondering what to do next, Torta spoke to me. So, are things working out for you? Yeah, more or less. Sounds like a lie to me. You'll just have to believe me. Why are you so unmotivated? No use asking me. You know that, don't you? Fine, fine, I get it. Thanks. Well, I'm going now. Sure, see you next week. Yeah, see ya. Well then, what shall I do now? We are going to the only place that is available, apparently. I stopped in my tracks in front of the Cenacolo, which served as a social gathering place for students. I rarely ever came here, and didn't have good memories of the times I did. I convinced myself that times like these were ideal for making use of this place and resolutely opened the door. Inside, a number of students who were busy performing interrupted their performance and looked my way. Did they think I was an acquaintance of theirs had entered? I was sure the majority of students present this early were the diligent types who had their private lessons in the mornings like me. I had my lessons in the morning, but for different reasons, though. Hello. I lightly bowed my head. I recognized some of the students' faces from somewhere. Probably someone from the Fortel department. I was once again reminded of the non-existence of my social life at school. I decided to observe the developments in the room for a bit. As the student, whom I recognized earlier, glanced my way, he said some things to his friends he was performing with, and they soon resumed playing. He probably realized that it was pointless to try and start a conversation with me. In that case, I should just start talking to them. But despite realizing that, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Just as their judgment was correct, my intuition should have been correct as well. As more and more students flowed in, the people performing and people conversing gradually began to spread out over the room. And I, belonging to neither group, was reduced to being a wallflower. Why the heck did I come to a place like this? Right, I came here in search of a partner. I was in this situation right now because I'd been forced to act like I had a place to search in front of Torta. I was painfully reminded just how alien I was here. I lost all motivation to search for someone, and right when I felt like going home, my eyes met those of a female student standing across from me. Excuse me, are you meeting someone here? The girl spoke in a soft, hesitant tone of voice as she tentatively stepped toward me. No, I'm not. Bewildered at suddenly being talked to, I only barely managed to produce a reply. I was a bit taken in by her reserved, polite manner of speech. Is that so? Then why are you... At that point, I cut in. Sorry, but I was about to leave. Although I wouldn't have minded talking to her for a bit, this wasn't really a place I wanted to be for too long. Excuse me. With that, I went outside. The rain was rather heavy today. Because of that, I felt kind of down. It was only normal this morning. When did it start pouring so hard? Unlike the drizzle-like minuscule droplets that usually fell, these were large and could be seen with the naked eye. Maybe I'll wait for a bit. I gazed at the sky for a short while from a dry location in front of the entrance. As I was spacing out, thinking of what to do next, my field of vision was suddenly tainted black. Would you like to share? Huh? It seemed I had walked a bit further outside without me noticing it. My bangs and shoulders were soaked. And, as if to make me notice, an umbrella was somehow opened up above me. Only when it stopped raining on me did I realize that I had been out in the rain. Dumbfounded, I stood there just watching the umbrella. Of course, umbrellas were sold all over, and sometimes you could see people with raised umbrellas around. But since I arrived here, this might have been the first time I have actually been under one myself. I slowly came to the realization that this umbrella was being held by someone, and turned my head to look. I suspected it was Torta for a second, but that thought was quickly proven wrong. You are... I believe I had failed to introduce myself before. My name is Falsita. Falsita Fawcett. Still holding the umbrella, she suddenly inclined her head without changing her expression. Is something the matter? Not at all. Shall we talk as we go? Sure. I still didn't understand how I came to walk together with a strange person under one umbrella. Unlike the sound of the rain hitting the ground, the sound of it hitting the umbrella was surprisingly faint. I had introduced myself while we were walking. Since then, the two of us hadn't exchanged a word. Is something the matter? No. Since I was holding the umbrella, the girl was currently empty-handed. I didn't do this to impress her or anything. I knew myself well enough to know I wasn't that kind of person. I merely figured it wouldn't be a good etiquette to have someone else hold my umbrella. Was I out of line for making your acquaintance in such a high-handed manner? She seemed flustered and slowed down her pace. Before she had a chance to come to a complete halt, I continued speaking, inciting her to pick up the pace again. No, that's not it. It's just that it's really unusual for me to be walking under an umbrella. Is that so? Come to think of it, you're right. The people of this town do not seem to use umbrellas often. Yes, but thank you. Oh no, do not concern yourself with it. But what were you doing there? I thought you had business at the Cenesolo. Well, she hesitated for a moment, as if it were difficult for her to say. It was because you looked a bit troubled. I did? Yes, I wondered if perhaps you did not feel well, and when I went outside I spotted you gazing at the rain. Is that so? I readjusted my grip on the umbrella and continued. Thank you for your concern. Do not mention it. She lightly turned aside my expression of gratitude and simply bowed her head. But is that really all? Have we perhaps met somewhere before? I changed the subject to shake off my unusual embarrassment. I certainly had the feeling I had heard of her name before. Then again, her gentle demeanor and refined features made her an all-around impressive-looking girl. If I had actually met her in class, I probably wouldn't have forgotten her. At the very least, it was out of the question that I had met her at a Fortel class. Besides that, I couldn't think of any other occasions I could have possibly met her. I just had that feeling, that's all. The girl smiled as I almost apologetically added this. She then began to laugh humbly. It is a possibility that we have met somewhere before. A possibility? Although I am not sure. What do you mean? If you have been properly attending school events, we should have met before. Events, huh? I've never actively participated in those unless they were compulsory. I almost never attended. Is that so? Even so, you might have seen me around before. I used to be the student council president, only until spring of this year, though. Ah, is that so? Oh, now that you mention it. I had a feeling I'd heard her voice at some event before. I never felt like listening to those speeches, so I never been concerned with who the speaker was. Sorry. Why do you apologize? Sorry for not being a diligent student. Please do not concern yourself with that. I wonder how many times this maid that she said those words with such grace of manner. I could tell it was second nature to her, and that it came straight from her heart. A lot of children from aristocratic and upper-class families were enrolled in this institute. I suppose I shouldn't have expected anything less from a student council president. Thank you. At that moment, we arrived at the border between the main street and the old town. My house is in the old town. Oh, I just realized we walked all this way without me ever asking which way you had to go. Indeed. Is something wrong? No, I just figured that your house might not be in the old town, Miss Fawcett. Actually, it is. My house is this way as well. Oh, I see. She had this air around her that said she wasn't suited to live in a cheap apartment in the old town like I do. Is something the matter? No, it's nothing. Sorry. It really wasn't something to ask someone you just met. I decided not to touch on it. I see. Ah, by the way, there's no need for the formality. Just call me Val. All of my close friends call me that. Val? I didn't particularly think that I could become close friends with her in the future, but I had no reason to turn down her request. On the other hand, I couldn't afford to be too laid back around her either. I had to watch my manners still. Good. Since our ways home were in the same direction, we were still walking under her umbrella. Chris, you're a foretellist, are you not? Since we were students attending the same school, it was only natural for this topic to come up. That's amazing. You must have talent. No, that's not true. I was just lucky. Nothing amazing about it. Do you really think so? Of course. That sure is unusual. That was all she said. She didn't tell me whether she thought it was right or wrong for me to think like that. Come to think of it, you are a senior, are you not? Yes, that's right. How do you know? You did a recital at the concert hall a while back, did you not? At the summer concert. At this institute, regular concerts were held 3 times a year at the end of each period. But considering the large amount of students performing at these concerts, wouldn't it be a bit hard to watch them all? Unless... Val, are you a foretellist as well? If that was true, then I think I said something pretty inconsiderate some pretty inconsiderate things just now. But in that case, I also should have at least remembered her face. No, I'm a vocalist, but I listened to all of the foretell recitals. Were you obligated to? I was not, in fact. I simply found it entertaining. I was just glad when my part was over, personally. I would imagine so. She sympathized with me, as if she had come to understand me a little from our earlier conversation. I didn't feel too uncomfortable with that. But a vocalist, huh? A silly thought sprang to mind right then. But she seemed very popular, so I'd be surprised if she hadn't already decided on a partner. Oh, by the way, Chris, do you already have a partner? Just when I decided it was better not to try and ask her, she casually asked me that question. Huh? No, not yet. Thank goodness. Actually, I haven't found a partner yet myself. If it is all right with you, would you like to play together sometime? Since I doubt you can decide so readily, I thought it might be nice to have an opportunity to perform together first. I see. Although I felt it was a little too good to be true, I had no particular reason to refuse. We would find out soon enough if we were musically compatible. But are you sure that's all right? What do you mean? I believe I was the one asking you for a favor. Well, if it is all right with you, I would love to. I was in the middle of searching for a partner myself, after all. So it was like that after all. I had a hunch when I saw you at the Cena Solo. We ended up at a fork in the road. I'm going this way. Oh, okay, my house is that way. She looked a bit disappointed. Oh, but I suppose I could walk you to your house. It would be regrettable if you got wet after coming all this way. Actually, my house is very close, no worries. Is that so? Yes, regarding what we talked about, when do you want to do it? I am a bit busy this week, so preferably sometime next week. Anytime next week? Unfortunately, no. Just Tuesday and Thursday. Besides that, I'm free on Sunday as well, but... Tuesday or Thursday is fine. I really don't want to come to school on a day off. I figured you'd say that. At what time do you have your lessons? Second period, so I will be free after the morning. I have lessons first period, so is noon okay with you? Is after lunch fine too? Of course. Then I will reserve a practice room around that time. As for where... She inclined her head in thought. For easy remembering, how about the very last practice room in the hallway? Sure, but I'm not sure yet if it'll be Tuesday or Thursday. I will be there either way. I normally always practice at those times. Impressive. Not at all. There are people here who practice far more than me, you know. Even still, but that's just like you, I suppose. Like me? I mean, I guess it wasn't something you would normally say to someone you just met. I just had a feeling. Is that so? She simply smiled. Well then, see you Tuesday or Thursday. Okay, until then, later. She gave a graceful bow and turned to leave. Remembering something, I quickly called out to her. Oh, yes, is something the matter? Thank you very much for sharing your umbrella with me. Oh, no, do not let it concern you. After parting with Val, I hurried along the road home, which normally took around 3 minutes walking, and arrived at my apartment. My hair and clothes weren't that wet today. Ah, welcome back! Since I was out of breath, I took a few breaths before replying. I'm home. Huh? Did you come running here? For a bit. Huh, did something happen? I suppose. I decided to explain it to her later and stepped into the room. Huh? You don't need a towel today? I'm not that wet. I guess I'll have to explain that as well. Tell me, what happened? I went over the events of today with the highly interested fairy, as I always did. After my usual interaction with Forney, the day came to an end. And that is all of the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. I love you so much. Bye!